Hi, today I'm talking about both the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse, which are about to happen, starting with the full moon lunar eclipse on Monday, the 25th of March, and following 2 weeks later with the solar eclipse on the 8th of April across the Aries and Libra houses in your birth chart. If you're new to my channel, my name's Debbie Green. I am a Western consulting astrologer using the tropical zodiac and the whole sign house system. So welcome to my channel if you're new here, and welcome back to any supporting friends that continue to tune in to my astrological offerings. I've been on YouTube for maybe a year or so now, and my videos tend to be taking a lot longer as I go into an introduction with some visual imagery of what I'm talking about. Then you can scroll along to your sign of the zodiac if you know your time of birth, because the eastern horizon represents your ascendant and the first house cusp. This is usually more accurate for you. However, you can also listen in for your sun and your moon. I use the whole sign house system, but if you use different house systems, you can see how that resonates with you too. So thanks again, and press the subscribe button if you're new to my channel, if you like what I'm doing here, to encourage me to do more YouTube videos. I won't be doing any for a while after this one, so I'm combining both the lunar eclipse here in Libra on the 25th of March, when the sun is at 7 degrees Libra, and the moon is at 7 degrees Libra, and the sun is opposite because we're in the Aries season now. I'm recording this the day after spring equinox, and then there will be a solar eclipse on the 8th of April, where both the sun and the moon are conjoined at the same degree in Aries. So that's a very dynamic new beginning. But these eclipses started across the Libran and Aries axes on the 14th of October 2023, and then they continue for about 18 months. So they bring up the same themes in these areas of your life where you have the Libran and Aries house cusps. So they give you repeating themes and repeating patterns, like sets of waves. If you were a bodyboarder or a surfer, the same themes continue and they come up, and they might flip around where the sun and the moon are in different houses or in the same houses, but they just give you opportunities to embrace the challenges, the endings, and the new beginnings that can come. So now let me just share a wee screen of showing what happens during the lunar eclipse. So as I was mentioning, that these lunar eclipses happen in pairs, usually twice a year, and they continue for about 18 months. And during a lunar eclipse, the Earth is situated between the sun and the moon, and some of the Earth's shadow is cast over the moon, which obscures some of the reflective light from the lunar body. So there's three types of lunar eclipses: the total eclipse, the partial, and the penumbral or apose. And this will be an apose lunar eclipse in Libra. And in Libra, topics of sharing different ideas, interactions with others, and our relationships might come to the fore, about finding balance, because in Libra, we're always aware of the other person's point of view, juxtaposed to the sun in Aries, which is very much about the self and one's own needs and one's own drive. So very much opposite personal, opposite others. And especially if you have this lunar eclipse happening in one of the dynamic angles of the chart, which are the first house, fourth house, seventh house, and 10th house, which are related to the cardinal signs Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. This will be particularly significant for you because these are very dynamic areas of your life. I'll go into that as I go through the individual interpretations and delineations. And also, if you have planets between 7 degrees and 10 degrees of these cardinal signs, this will be more significant to you as well. So let me just show you an image of the solar eclipse. This is just one with the light of the sun being obscured here as well. I just like to start with some imagery. In ancient times, when there were eclipses, because there was no electricity and modern day technology, the ancient ones, our ancestors, relied upon the light of the sun and the moon. So there is this sort of theme that eclipses can be bad luck, because if you can imagine the light completely darkening in times gone by, that would be quite a bad omen, a feeling of depletion and fear and endings, and the unknown of when the light would also return. So there is a theme of sometimes bad luck. And indeed, with lunar eclipses, it's related to, in mundane astrology, lunar figures, feminine figures in society. The moon is also related to the body and the mind. So if you were born with a lunar eclipse, it might have some powerful representation within your mind and your body, with the light being obscured when you were born as well. And solar eclipses are more related to the masculine principles. So male figures in society, such as politicians, royalty, country leaders. So when solar eclipses happen, there could be significant endings or prominence to these solar figures in our lives as well. I don't tend to go much into mundane astrology. I'm more interested in personal astrology and how this relates to us on a personal level. And then we can work with these themes in our lives and work with these astrological currents in the heavens with a sense of knowledge and therefore more consciousness, which can help us embrace the challenges that life throws at us. So this is a map of the heavens at the time of the lunar eclipse in Libra. It's set to Scotland, where I am, and it's at 7 o'clock in the morning. So if you're west, you are ahead of us. So this could be happening earlier, in the earlier hours, after midnight perhaps. And if you're east of the UK, it will be happening later in the day. But as you can see, we've got, let me just bring up my annotate tool here. We've got the moon here. This is set for Taurus ascendant because the Taurus house cusp is here at the 9 o'clock position. So just ignore this for now because I'll be starting with Aries. But you can see the moon is at 5 degrees, 7 minutes Libra, co-present with the south node of the moon, Ketu, the severed body of the dragon. So there's a sense of some sort of release, letting go, diminishment, sometimes depletion, and just more interest maybe in spiritual pursuits rather than material gains. And we have the full moon lunar eclipse in opposition. Always the sun and the moon are in opposition at full moon. So the sun is at 5 degrees, 7 minutes in Aries. And in this Aries house, for everybody, there's quite, I'm embracing Chiron because I feel Chiron a lot in my clients' charts and my own charts. We've got the sun, we've got the north node of the moon, Rahu, which is more interested in success and achievement and being, an insatiable drive to aim for something and be successful in it. That's opposite Ketu. So this is Rahu, the north node of the moon. So the sun is about self-expression, dynamism, drive, Aries fire, self, boldness, courage, impulsiveness, following one's own needs with Rahu there. And we also have Chiron, I was just talking about, part of the Centurion belt, the wounded healer, talking about wounds that we all carry, and these are in different areas of our life, wherever this Aries house cusp is. So Chiron is very much part of this, especially when we come around to the solar eclipse, because Chiron is actually conjoined with the sun, cazimi, but I will go into that. And then we have Mercury also in Aries, the messenger of the gods, about our mind, our communications, our interactions with others, journeys, thoughts, plans. At the moment, during the lunar eclipse, Mercury is still going forward in the heavens, but starting to slow down because he's about to retrograde on the 1st of April. So the dynamics are happening here across the Libra and Aries axes. And this lunar eclipse is ruled by Venus, goddess of love, beauty, harmony, your values and things. And Venus is conjoined up here, or has been recently conjoined with Saturn. She's just moved past Saturn here. So she rules it from an exalted Piscean house here, where Venus is exalted and able to express herself and her values and her traits to the highest way, but also when you've got other planets, they are blended in to this area of life where Venus is in Pisces. So that's just a general view of the heavens at this time of the full moon lunar eclipse. And now I will begin my short interpretations. I say they're short, they're about, I don't know, they can be about 5 minutes long because I tend to look at all the other planetary placements. So you can scroll along and to your rising sign, sun or moon, beginning with Aries, and I'll end with Pisces. And again, I welcome you to subscribe, like, comment below. Oh, I've got buy me a coffee as well, but I'm not going to mention that anymore because I think I plugged it too much last time and it probably annoyed people. So it's just new to my channel. So that's why I've got that buy me a coffee option if you're feeling particularly generous. So let's move on to Aries. So Aries, you are one of the cardinal signs and you have this dynamic energy, this opposition where the sun is in Aries and the moon is in your house of personal relationships at the time of this lunar eclipse on the 25th of March. So as I was saying, the cardinal houses are particularly going to be affected. And what may be coming to fruition at this time may be topics that were started around the 14th of October when we had the first Libra solar eclipse last year. That would have been a new moon, and this is 6 months later, so culminating any things that were prominent in your life at this time. So these things may be coming up to a sense of visibility, completion, more illumination, or indeed endings, because eclipses can indicate endings, which then involve new beginnings, because the two are part of the same cycle. So Venus is the ruler of this eclipse. She's exalted here in your 12th house, which is known to be the house of Saturn's joy. It's the 12th house. She's exalted here, so she's able to use her highest traits of what she signifies. And in Pisces, it's very sensitive, creative, compassionate, aware of the collective feeling of others. So there's great sensitivity and compassion here, creativity and imagination, blending with others and connecting with others. And sometimes Venus, because it's about our personal relationships, it can relate to maybe giving an awful lot away of yourself. However, Saturn is also here. He is Kronos, Lord of Time, and this 12th house is known to be Saturn's joy. So he's quite happy up here. He's been up here since March last year, and he is encouraging how we all can create boundaries and restrictions and work within our limitations. He is about responsibility and maturity, and all of these dynamics are at work within your hidden house, away from the public eye. And Mars, the warrior god who rules the solar eclipse on the 8th of April, he's also moved into Pisces here, and he represents assertion and action and dynamism. However, he hasn't got a lot of power in Pisces, or his energies are going to be more influenced by Jupiterian expansions through the watery, emotional, creative ways that you may be processing behind the scenes, away from the public eye, in a sense of attuning to your inner drives, your inner landscape, which involve your hidden worlds, where you're away from others and you can really think about what's important to you, deeper spiritual aspects of your life, perhaps. Neptune has been here for some time, so she supports all the blending and the creativity and expansion of other realms, high fantasies and imagination, spiritual identities. But we've got the malefic planets here also in this house, bringing some other energies of restriction or limitation. And also this is the house which, because it's furthest away from the first house here of Aries, it's the 12th house. This is the helm of the ship, and this house can be known as the place of self-undoing. So it might be a time where you can recognize bad habits that take you away from feeling in control, because you are losing control. You're not able to control things so much in this 12th house here. And Saturn may be encouraging you to limit yourself or take on some more serious plans or actions around any spiritual pursuits that you have so that you can gain more mastery here. So there will be Mars coming closer to Saturn between the 6th of April and the 10th of April exact until the 14th of April. So just before the solar eclipse on the 8th of April, there will be a Mars coming to conjoin with Saturn in Pisces here. So there could be a sort of tug of war, as in Mars wants to do things quickly and impulsively. He's already in these watery Piscean waters that are flowing and changeable. And Saturn says, slow down, let's make some plans here. And, you know, it could be about mastering more things about your deep psychological world. So it's about slow beginnings that may have sustained endings in this deep area of your private life, showing up, perhaps with effect in your personal relationships. So the eclipse, when we have the solar eclipse, moving on 2 weeks later, because I'm combining the two eclipses in this video, I won't have time to do another one. So this solar eclipse will be happening in your first house. So solar eclipses, all solar eclipses are related to new beginnings. The moon and the sun will be conjoined here at 19 degrees Aries. Maybe I should bring up that chart actually, rather than just point at it. So bear with me, I'll bring up the solar eclipse chart. Thanks for bearing with me there, Aries. As you can see, this is now the solar eclipse chart on the 8th of April. It's set for the UK, so it's in the evening here at 18:20 Universal Time. So what we have here, we have a very dynamic stellium of planets in Aries. So Venus has recently moved out of her exaltation into the place where she's known to be in detriment, because she's far away from the house that she rules, which is Libra, and she also rules Taurus here, your second house. But she's just gone into Aries. So there's something more fiery about how you may show up within your personal relationships, because Venus is the guest of Mars. And Mars now is the ruler of this eclipse because he rules Aries. And he's still in this 12th house, this hidden house, your subconscious house. He's also just about to conjoin with Saturn. As I was mentioning, he's going to be exact on the 10th of April, 2 days afterwards, but he's been applying to Saturn. So Venus is in Aries, Rahu, the north node of the moon, is in Aries. The moon and the sun are conjoined in Aries at 19 degrees, 24 minutes. And we also have a cazimi. Let me undo that so you can see where Chiron is. So we can see that Chiron is also exactly at the same degrees and minutes as this sun at this new moon solar eclipse. Now, this is a very rare occasion. So normally we look at planets that are in the heart of the sun, but Chiron, the wounded healer, the wounds that we carry that need attention in our lifetime, is in the heart of the sun, given special powers. He's on the throne with the solar god, and he's illuminating what needs to be healed. So he has special powers within your first house to heal something about your own identity, your own self-expression, your vitality, your psychology, and how you show up in the world. So this is very, very dynamic in your first house. And Mercury, the messenger of the gods, how you communicate. He's in fiery Aries still, but now he's gone retrograde. He started moving backwards on the 1st of April. So you will be perhaps reviewing things during the Mercury retrograde until the 25th of April. There's a retrograde with Mercury. So reviewing things, rethinking things, revisiting, reassessing, making different plans ahead with this Mercury retrograde. So the north node of the moon does encourage you to follow your dreams, follow what gives you the impetus to follow your own drive and your own internal compass at this time of the solar eclipse. And this will continue. These eclipses will continue for the next year, because they will be, where's my dates? They'll be activated until the 2nd of October 2024, when we have the last solar eclipse in Aries. Libran eclipse. And then the last solar eclipse will be on the 29th of March 2025. So Aries, this is a time of working out the dynamics between you and your personal self-expression and relationships, itself and other. And you'll have plenty of opportunities to feel these waves and work through these things over the next year. So I hope that's helpful. And let me know how that resonates with you if you want to press below in the comments or subscribe. So thanks. I'll be moving on now to the next sign of the zodiac, which is Taurus, going into the lunar eclipse. Hi there, Taurus ascendant, sun or moons, if you don't know your time of birth. As we can see here, we have the lunar eclipse at 5 degrees Libra in your 6th house, which was known in ancient times as the place of Mars's joy. And it relates to your daily life, what you're seen to do, and in your routines. And it's about work and service, your daily job. It's about the house of self-sacrifice. It also is related to your health, and it can be about pets as well. So the moon here, co-present with Ketu, the south node of the moon. Something about letting go of things, and topics that may have started at the first solar eclipse in Libra in October 14th last year may be coming up and showing themselves in your daily life, or certainly within your health as well, mental health and physical health. You can see that the sun is in the opposite house of Saturn's joy, the 12th house, at 5 degrees. Aries, 7 minutes, always at a full moon. The sun and moon are in opposition to each other. So the dynamics are about daily life, what you do there, your mind and your body, and also opposite the hidden house, the 12th house of Saturn's joy, the private house of seclusion, away from the public eye. So these dynamics are going to be working across these Aries and Libran houses for the next year. They're about there for about 18 months. While these eclipses continue to bring us repeating waves that come back, maybe flipping around where the sun and the moon are, but certainly giving you the same sort of life patterns in these areas of your life. And the ruler of the Libran lunar eclipse is Venus, who is up here in your 11th house of Jupiter's joy. So this is about your long-term plans and wishes. Jupiter being the greater benefic planet that can represent opportunities, growth, and expansion. This could be related to rewards from your career because it's the second derived house from the 10th house of career. And up here, we've recently got Mars joined in to the Pisces party. Mars in Pisces up here about how you apply yourself and dynamics. Saturn about restriction and responsibilities and reality checks. Venus, pleasures, your values, your interactions with others. So she is ruling this lunar eclipse here, and she wants to bring out the best of harmony, beauty, union, pleasures, and sensitivity and compassion. And Neptune is also up here, bringing in some ethereal, spiritual, imaginative themes to this 11th house. So the sign of Libra is really an air sign related to collaborations and partnerships and shared ideas. So it may be important for you to, come to some agreement in your daily life, affecting your routines. And that can be challenging sometimes because you are always aware of other people's points of view with that Libran dynamic, the sign of the scales that's always trying to find balance and equilibrium, but they can go one way or the other. And with Ketu, the south node of the moon, that can be quite depleting because Ketu is also co-present in the 6th house. So it might deplete your health and sense of well-being at certain times. Venus has recently had a conjunction up here with Saturn, the taskmaster, the reality checker. So while she's maybe got great dreams and ideas for the future, Saturn is about grounding these ideas and bringing them into some sort of practicality and, realization of what is actually going to be possible, maybe with limited restrictions there. However, Venus is creating a sextile aspect, 16 degrees here in Pisces, to 15 degrees to Jupiter. They are both benefic planets. Jupiter is the greater benefic, and Venus, the ruler of this eclipse, is the lesser benefic. So sextiles are helpful, supportive, flowing opportunity aspects. So there's something about your hopes and wishes from your house of friendship groups and those that support you that can help you grow and express yourself, because Jupiter is in this first house here, where he will continue to be till the 25th of May. I did talk about Jupiter and the Uranus conjunction coming up in May. So there will be opportunities, sudden events that you maybe don't expect that can help you break free, awaken and liberate you also. So 2 weeks after the lunar eclipse, we will have the solar eclipse in Aries. So let me bring that up for you. So Taurus, you can see here that we've got a very powerful stellium of planets, and that's normally when there's 3 or more planets in one zone of your life, one zodiac sign, and all of these are in the Aries house, which is your 12th house, the hidden place. So let me just point them out. We've got Venus having moved out of her place of exaltation, where she's so flowing and sensitive. Now she's sort of a guest of Mars, who's still up here in this 11th house. Did I say 12th house? I don't know whether I did, but she's now in your 12th house, but she was in your 11th house of your dreams and your wishes, in a sort of harmonizing way of dreams and union and peace. But now she's in the domain of Mars, because she's in Aries, ruled by Mars. So she's far from home. She rules this house of Libra. She's in exile, and your personal relationships may be more challenging during the time that she is here, around the time of the solar eclipse on the 8th of April, because she can't be as easygoing, and she tends to have to armor herself up, being more warrior-like, being more assertive, perhaps, while she's in Mars. But that can be a good thing, but it's all about finding balance and maybe recognizing that you can have a bit of discord with that sort of area of Venus in Aries here, in detriment. We've also got the north node of the moon, Rahu, supporting directions that you aspire to achieve, but it's all behind the scenes. You're processing all of these things privately in a place of seclusion, away from the public eye, because this is the house of Saturn's joy, the furthest from the helm of the ship, the first house. We have a very, very powerful stellium and cazimi here, with Chiron exactly at the same degrees as the sun and the moon, which are always in the same degrees and minutes at a new moon. But so there's an opportunity for Chiron about healing wounds that you carry, maybe around your own sense of independence and personal abilities, really coming to the fore here, but given an opportunity to be seated on the heart of the throne with the God, illuminated and given extra power. So healing some deep issues, perhaps, that you keep into the depths of your shadow, your inner self, that you don't show to anybody else. There's an opportunity here for healing some wounds around what you are able to do on a personal level. The nodes of the moon, it is an eclipse because there's only 5 degrees here. The north node is at 15 degrees, 38 minutes. When the nodes are within 18 degrees, that's when you have an eclipse of the sun, when they're within 18 degrees, and when they're much closer, such as this 5 degree, this is because we're going to have a total eclipse. So there's something very powerful happening here behind the scenes, affecting your deep psychology, Taurus. And we have Mercury also still in Aries, but since the 1st of April until the 25th of April is now going retrograde. You can see the retrograde symbol here. So there will be a time of deep reflections, going back over your ideas and your plans for the future, revisiting themes that you're having to process before being able to go ahead with plans for the future. And we've also had Mars, who rules the solar eclipse here in Aries, is about to conjoin on the 10th of April, 2 days after, and still will be in orb until the 14th of April, Mars is going to be conjoined with Saturn up here in your house of dreams and wishes, social groups, benefactors, people that are supportive of you. So there's something about Mars in this house that may cause some conflict within some of your relationships with your community, and perhaps recognizing long-term plans here. The energy of Mars is to want to do things more impulsively, but he's already weakened by being in Pisces. So you're not able to really be as dynamic in your hopes and wishes. There's some definite realities that's having to happen here with Saturn insisting on taking time and maybe putting on the brakes here. And these eclipses are going to be working across your 12th house and your 6th house for the next year. How you show up in the world, your service, duties, self-sacrifice, and your hidden house of your deep psyche and inner workings. So these will be continuing to be giving you these opportunities to work through these themes until, let me get my dates again, so I can give you the right information. The last Libran solar eclipse is at 10 degrees on the 2nd of October this year, 2024, and the last solar eclipse will be in Aries on the 29th of March, 2025. So these are new beginnings, new potential that can be brought to the fore. And did I mention, I think I did mention about the sextile that you had between Venus and Jupiter. That happened. Has that happened? There was a sextile. Oh wait, yeah, there was a sextile with Venus, your ruler, and Jupiter. So bring in some sense of harmony to how you can show up in the world. And there will be new opportunities with the Uranus and Jupiter conjunction happening in April. Around, I think it's around the 20th. I've forgotten the exact date where it's exact, but it's going to be continuing through. So there's something awakening and illuminating and expansive about how you can show up in the world, which should be related to some sense of growth and good fortune. So I hope that's helpful for you, Taurus. Thanks for listening. Let me know how that resonates, if it resonates with you at all. These are all very general readings because without having your birth chart in front of me, I can't see exactly if the planets that are in the heavens at these eclipses are doing anything to your personal planets, because that's when you can really feel what's going on. But these are general themes. So I'll be moving on now to Gemini. Hi, Gemini ascendant, sun or moon, if you don't know your time of birth. As we can see, this Libran eclipse at 5 degrees 7 minutes Libra is happening in Venus's joy, the 5th house, and opposite the sun in Jupiter's joy, the 11th house. So both of these houses are ruled naturally in ancient astrology by the benefic planets, Jupiter, the greater benefic, and Venus, the lesser benefic. So these are easier houses than Taurian houses because they are the house of good fortune and hopes and wishes. So it's more about pleasures, creativity, fun, romance, sex, entrepreneurship, children, pregnancy, and then your hopes and wishes and things like that. So these topics may be coming to a fore from the first solar eclipse that happened on the 14th of October 2024 last year. And these lunar eclipses and solar eclipses continue like sets of waves. If you were in the sea and you're waiting for another wave to come to bodyboard or surf, they're repeating patterns across these dynamics, these areas of your life for the next year from now and 18 months from the first solar eclipse. So topics that began around that time may be coming up to a visible point in your life. Things that maybe were prevalent or you began back at that solar eclipse may be coming to fruition, or there may be a certain ending point, or there may be more visibility in your daily life. There can be something at the time of this eclipse of depletion around topics of romance or children, because Ketu, the south node of the moon, is present in this 5th house. So there might be some sort of sense of letting go of some pleasures or some release of something around these topics here. And Libran on this 5th house cusp would suggest, that you like to share some of your pleasures and pursuits with another, within partnership, with a sense of unified collaboration where you're doing things with another. Venus is in your 10th house of public visibility, the house of praxis. So she rules this lunar eclipse, and she's co-present up here with a whole stellium of planets, including Saturn, the taskmaster, who's been up here since, I think it's March last year. He spends about 2.5 years. So he's given you lessons around how you show up in the world, using maturity, wisdom, maybe limiting things, cutting back perhaps in your work life, or recognizing responsibilities and things that can be changed for the long term. Venus has been conjoined with Saturn, so there can be some reality checks about your values and your interactions perhaps in this area of your life. Mars has just moved ingressed in here into Pisces. It's about action, energy, assertion, dynamism, and he's sort of in these watery fluid areas of Pisces ocean here. He's not able to be as dynamic, so he can be more creative. It's a good time to develop that creativity and compassion towards others, perhaps. While Mars is here, that's how he can express his energies. And Neptune is also up here, giving you sort of inspired dreams, and Neptune's been up here for some time. So Venus and Neptune are sort of in one team, and we've got the malefic planets up here in another team, but they represent different sort of themes in your life. So I will move, I think, on to the solar eclipse. Before I do that, there is a sextile aspect between Venus up here in your 10th house of social praxis, your reputation, and your social standing, to Jupiter. So there's a 16-degree to 15-degree sextile here. So it's in play and has been exact. Something about benefits, maybe finances coming in to you, and ideas of processing things behind the scenes. There's indication with Jupiter in the 12th house here that you've been really expanding your inner world of deepest psychology, tuning into deeper aspects of yourself, and Venus lends harmony and support to that area of your life. So let me move on to the solar eclipse on the 8th of April. So Geminis, what we can see is a very powerful stellium of planets, which actually overspill out of this 11th house because of the way the chart's laid out. But we have the luminaries, remembering that a solar eclipse is an opportunity for new beginnings again. So we have the luminaries at 19 degrees, 24 minutes, Aries, exactly conjoined with Chiron, the wounded healer. So Chiron is cazimi with the sun, healing wounds, maybe having more sense of self-belief in your long-term plans that you can actually bring to the fore, because this is the house of Jupiter's joy, your hopes and your wishes. And it may represent maybe new friendship groups that really can help you follow your dreams and your aspirations, which are supported by the North Node of the Moon, Rahu here, about following your independent dreams, something about your own self-motivations here that can be supported by your community groups. And we've got Mercury, the messenger of the gods, your ruler of Gemini, going retrograde, going back over your ideas. Since the 1st of April, Mercury, until the 25th of April, will be going retrograde in this house of groups, friendships, allies, communities, and related to your dreams and your wishes for the long term, for the future. So now Venus as well actually should have been within that circle. And let's bring Venus in. Venus was exalted in your house of career or social status up here, but now she's moved out of that area where she was exalted, where she was more fluid and sensitive, to a Mars-ruled area of life. She's in exile away from the house she rules in Libra, and she's maybe a bit more dynamic in relationships, a bit more assertive in how she expresses herself, because she's in Mars's temple, and she can't be too easygoing there, otherwise she'll be trodden on and walked over. So I see Venus in Aries as being more armored up in the warrior sort of battle, prepared for battle mode here. But so it can be, you know, good for expressing yourself, but there could be a little bit more conflict that comes up with this placing of Venus in Aries, because she's sort of really trying to be a bit more assertive and fiery and maybe a bit more selfish. And we also have Mars up here, the malefic planet, the lesser malefic, just about to conjoin with Saturn. This conjunction was starting to apply a couple of days before this solar eclipse. On the 6th of April, will be exact 2 days after, on the 10th of April, and in place in this conjunction, separating from Saturn until the 14th of April. So Mars isn't able to assert himself as much as he wants to in Pisces, because it's this watery sign of the fishes swimming in opposite directions. However, there can be a sense of creativity as Mars is navigating these creative currents here. And Saturn is really bringing in a sense of, you know, structures that you've maybe already been putting into place in your outward visible public life, which may be related to work if you're of that working age. He's already been here, Saturn, for some time now, and he will be here. He stays for 2.5 years in this sign. So, you know, Saturn's already been in this zone of your life. So he maybe has a bit more power than Mars as they come into conjunction. So Mars maybe wants to forge ahead and do something independently, maybe. And Saturn's talking about routines and boundaries, realistic ideas around these topics with enduring patient steps to and use your mastery in this area of your life. You know, and, you know, the new moon in the 11th house is about your dreams and your wishes. So you can plant seeds of new plans and ideas for the future that can still unfold as these dynamics happen across your 11th and 5th house of Venus's and Jupiter's joy. So these dynamics will continue to happen for you, Geminis, until the last solar eclipse at 10 degrees on the 2nd of October 2024, and then the last solar eclipse in Aries on the 29th of March 2025. So working across what your pleasures are and what your dreams are within groups or your long-term plans, these are topics that are likely to come up. So let me know how that resonates with you. Press the subscribe, like button, and yeah, best wishes, Gemini. Hi there, Cancerians, ascendant sun or moons. What we can see here, you're one of the cardinal signs. So we can see that the moon, the lunar eclipse in Libra, is in a dynamic area of your life related to home and family down here at the bottom of the chart, the resting place, co-present with Ketu, the south node of the moon. Something about releasing, something about letting go, perhaps related to topics that began on the 14th of October 2023, where there was the first solar eclipse in Libra, and now this is a completion point or something coming to more visibility or more like releasing and ending something here. And the moon is your ruler, Cancer, so it could be emotional, it could be an awareness of something around partnerships at home. It could be about collaborations and peace, but there's a sense of depletion and letting go here. And we've got the sun in the opposite house of your public status, what you're seen to do in the public eye, which is related to your reputation, your occupation, your career, your vocations, and yeah, generally your visibility. The 10th house of praxis is what you're seen to do. It's right above. And then these dynamics over the next year will be continuing across home and family, roots and ancestry, perhaps property, land, and also your career or your life's purpose in the outside world. So Venus is the ruler of this eclipse. She rules Libra, and she is up up here in the 9th house of the higher mind. This is related to your belief systems. This is related to how you find understanding and philosophies that make you know your place in the world and your relationships with others. This is the house of God in ancient astrology, and it can be related to topics that other solar figures that you are drawn towards to help teach you may support you. It's like teachers, priests, gurus, decision makers, like lawyers, things like that. But when Venus is exalted up here, maybe you've been having very deep spiritual or religious themes that you've been inspired by, especially with Neptune also co-present up here. These two energies are like beauty, trust, faith, ease, magical things that are sensitive and healing and to do with the emotions and creativity. And then we've also got the malefic planets. We've got Saturn and Mars as well. They're like on another team here. Mars, the warrior planet, who's a bit frustrated in Pisces because he's not able to be as dynamic, but he can be creative. He can learn to be more compassionate. And also we've got Saturn here, who's been in Pisces since I think last March, and he'll be here for quite some time. He moves very slowly. So there's this sort of sense of, there's been recently a Venus and Saturn conjunction, which may have had an effect of, reality checks around, practicalities, grounding your understanding of the world at large and maybe your belief systems, or something to do with higher education. So there's something to do with those topics here. And without seeing your own personal birth chart, that's the sort of general theme that's been going on. Venus is sextile from this house of your higher mind. It can be related to overseas travels as well, foreign shores. Venus is sextile to Jupiter. So both of these benefics are in a harmonious link, and Jupiter is in your house of groups, allies, friendship groups, communities that support you. It used to be called the house of the benefactors in ancient astrology, and it's Jupiter's joy. So Jupiter is in Jupiter's joy in this practical house of Taurus, related to your long-term plans. So there are benefits, things that you are really imagining and can really dream of and resonate with your beliefs can flow to your long-term plans here with that going on. So I'm going to move on to the solar eclipse and show you what that looks like for you. So Cancers, this is a solar eclipse, a very powerful house. Again, it's in your 10th house of social status, your occupation, your career path, your vocations in life. It's where people see you in the public eye. So there's a new opportunity here that can arise at the time of this solar eclipse. And it's very dynamic with the stellium of the sun and the moon always conjoined with Chiron, the wounded healer, exactly cazimi, 19 degrees, 24 minutes with the sun. Wounds that you carry around your own abilities to be seen for your skills in your public life are given this boost of power here that you can really overcome when Chiron is in the heart of the sun on the throne with a solar figure who gives us energy, who gives us light, who illuminates and gives extra power to you. So there's an opportunity for you to overcome wounds that you carry in your career path here with self-belief and extra power that can unfold over the next year. So also what we have Venus has recently moved out of exaltation in the house of Pisces. She's now in Aries. She's in exile from the house that she rules, Libra. So in personal relationships, it might be that you actually feel like you are more assertive and able to stand up for yourself and be aware of your own needs and your own drive and follow that a bit more directly and, in a way that you're more assertive and care less for what other people think. If Venus was in Pisces, she would be very sensitive and compassionate and aware of the collective feelings. But in Aries, Mars rules Aries and Venus is in Mars's house. So she's more self-aware. So you just watch out for a little bit of conflict, perhaps somewhere in your public life, if you are too direct in your own self-expression. But sometimes you need to hold your own ground. So, you know, it's about healing wounds, following your dreams, being assertive. And certainly with Rahu, the north node of the moon, he is up here too, the one that looks like headphones. He is up here, giving you this sort of this inner compass to follow this path, follow your career path, follow your motivations that help you express yourself publicly in the world and share your gifts. So we also have Mercury retrograde. Mercury has been retrograde since the 1st of April. Here you can see at 24 degrees. You can hear about Mercury retrograde in my previous video. I think it was a spring equinox video. I talked more in depth about that. But during Mercury retrograde periods, we can go back rather than, we might have plans and might want to forge forward because Mercury's in fiery Aries sign, impulsive and impatient. But Mercury retrograde really provides opportunities for us to reflect, revisit, rethink, reassess, review things. And that is in place until the 25th of March. So, yeah, career plans, new ideas around jobs, vocations in life, what you're seen to do publicly. You can process these behind the scenes and allow them to unfold over the next year, because these eclipses are very dynamic for you as a cardinal sign of the zodiac, and it is affecting your house of your visibility and also your home life. So these currents are going to be pulled up and revisited over the next year. Like waves that are revisiting in the sea, you know, if you're bodyboarding and you can see a set of waves that are coming, and then you ride that wave, and then you learn from that wave, and then, you know, a few months later, the same patterns are coming back up again, giving you the opportunities to learn about your public status and dynamism there, and your private life, home and family, where there is the Ketu, some sense of release. So there may be changes or letting go of something around home, family, property for some of you Cancerians. And these eclipses will continue until the 2nd of October with the last Libran solar eclipse this year, and also the Aries solar eclipse on the 29th of March, 2025. So there's still a year for these new beginnings to unfold. And it's also related to Mars ruling this eclipse here from your 9th house of your higher mind, spirituality, your belief systems and social, your path in life, which is related to spiritual pilgrimage, your higher mind. And there has been a union here between the 6th of April, exact on the 10th, and until the 14th, Mars is conjoined in your 9th house, where you may want to continue pushing ahead with your spiritual ideas or teaching abilities, perhaps if you're of a maturer age, but, you know, more creative, and Saturn talking about boundaries and responsibilities and working within your own means. So Saturn has quite a firm insistence here of taking time and putting on the brakes and becoming more stable and working, using your own abilities and practicalities. So I hope that's helpful for you, Cancers. Let me know if any of that resonates within the comments below. Thanks very much. I'll now be moving on to the next sign of the zodiac, which is Leo.